Hey, we have 2 dungeons left in our Bigwig setup guides. So next up, we are heading over to Warlords of Draenor to talk about Shadowmoon Burial Grounds. So the first boss, Sadana Bloodfury. The primary abilities are going to be Dark Eclipse and Dark Communion of what we want to be paying attention to as a healer. So for Dark Eclipse, we are going to probably want to enable a countdown for this because it's something where you have to step on these little like lunar spots on the floor or these lit up spots on the floor. So having a countdown to know when we need to get in position for that will definitely be very useful. So I'm going to enable a countdown for that. And then we have Daggerfall, which is just like a little swirly that you need to avoid, and it leaves like a permanent puddle on the floor for the remainder of the fight. And then Dark Communion is going to summon an ad that you have to kill. So we can just for the sake of simplicity, because there are two abilities that look very similar to each other. So we're going to set this one to say ad. So we'll just do that every time she spawns the ad. And for some reason, it's not including the other ability that she does here, which is like kind of the most important for a healer. I forgot exactly what it's called. I wonder if I can find it in the dungeon journal really quick. So we go to Shadowmoon Burial Ground, Sadana Bloodfury. It is Whispers of the Dark Star. So what this must be is a new ability. Maybe she didn't do this back in Warlords of Draenor, and that's why Bigwigs doesn't have it. It's like a new Mythic Plus thing. So it'll probably get added later on, but Whispers of the Dark Star is the other like really important thing that as a healer you're going to want to heal through, because she gets just kind of like instantly applies it and it just does unavoidable group-wide damage for like 10 seconds or something. It's pretty brutal. So having some kind of notification for that ahead of time, I would almost put my countdown timer on this instead, or have like a separate countdown or something. But yeah, something to be aware of. And then next up we have Nhalish, and this is going to be, this boss really doesn't do too much, but there are a couple things that we can set up. So planar shift is this is where he teleports to a random player and then spawns like a purple circle under him, and you just have to stay out of it. So very straightforward. And then Void Vortex, same thing. It's just part of Planar Shift. He does like Planar Shift and then Void Vortex. And then Soul Shred is where you get sent into a different realm and you have to fight a little ad. So I would say we probably enable a countdown for that just so we know when we're going downstairs. And then downstairs referring to like a different phase than the main one. And then Void Devastation is just a bunch of swirlies that we avoid. So really don't need to set anything else up for this fight. Bonemaw, definitely want a countdown timer for the Inhale. This is the most annoying ability ever because you get a small warning from it in Bigwigs, and then he'll just instantly inhale you if you're in melee. So like, you definitely need a countdown for this. I'm not going to set up any other sound alerts or anything for Inhale. And then Body Slam is something that we're going to want to be aware of. I will probably just use my frontal noise for this because it's very similar to a frontal. So there we go for Body Slam. And that's it for Bonemaw. He doesn't do anything else. Next up we have Ner'zhul. Malevolence is the frontal that he does, so we will go ahead and enable the frontal noise for that. And then I will also, let's see. I'm wondering if I should enable a countdown for Malevolence, the frontal, or for Omen of Death, which Omen of Death is the runes that he puts on the floor that you need to run away from. So if I have a countdown for these, if I'm playing like a ranged healer, it can help me like bait the runes to different spots on the floor and stuff. So maybe that's a good idea. So I think I'm going to enable a countdown for that. At least I think Omen of Death is it, unless this is another ability like the first boss that isn't showing up. Yeah, based on proximity. So I think we're going to do that. We're going to enable a countdown for Omen of Death. And then Ritual of Bones is the ads. Don't need to set up anything for that. so I think that's it. We just have a countdown set up for Omen of Death. Cool. And then we will look through the trash. Shadowmoon Bone Menders, don't need to worry about. Void Spawn, don't need to worry about. Loyalists, don't need to worry about. Exhumers, don't do anything. Exhume Spirit is just an interrupt. And then the Corpse Spider does Necrotic Burst. Yep, Body Slam, that's the only thing I'm going to change, and we're just going to make that the frontal noise. But everything else is pretty straightforward of like visual indicators or just cast that we're interrupting, so don't need to worry about much else. Cool, that's a very quick one for the Bigwig setup guides, so thanks so much for watching. One more to go, which is the Temple of the Jade Serpent, so I will see you there.